All right, guys, welcome to the lunch break. Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Give it a few minutes for some of you guys to get on. I hope you're not working too hard today. We definitely have the weekend in view. What's up, Coleman? How you doing, buddy? Hope you're feeling better. Man, I tell you what, this day's going to drag. So will tomorrow, because I'm looking forward to the weekend. And whether you're out fishing or hunting or whatever, it's definitely something to look forward to. I got some cool stuff to talk with you guys about today. I'm going to give it a few more minutes, let others get on. What's up, Doug, Jonah? See some of you guys kind of swinging by on TikTok. Want to go ahead and remind everybody. What's up, Tyler? Justin Ortiz, how you doing? Kyle Brown, what's up? Want to go ahead and remind you guys, listen, December 6th, go ahead. Mark it on your calendar, Toys for Tots tournament. Getting ready to start the sign-ups and everything. And I know that there's some other clubs or something that may have an event on that day. Want to make sure you can help out if you can't fish it. Just don't make me tell everybody that you hate kids. The power of the mic is very persuasive, all right? You don't want to do that. What's up, Stephen Guthrie, Coker, all you guys? But, yeah, so December 6th, we want everybody out there. Everybody out there. $5,000 first place prize, guys. $5,000. All right. Plus, you're getting to help out kids. It don't get any better than that. Plus, you get to hang out with us. We're gonna pretty much get with Big Shanty Bass Masters and set it up like we did last year. Have a great event. Hopefully, it'll be just a tad warmer than it was last year, because I froze my ass off last year, if we're being honest. But man, the weights of that tournament last year, December is a great time on Lake Lanier to have a tournament. We had 98 boats, and I can tell you, if I go back, I'll look again. But between first place and like 34th. First to 34th was maybe 3 pounds. Was ridiculous how close it was. And they raised like 11 or 12 boxes of toys for the Toys for Tots. So we want to do that again. We want you guys there. If you're in another club and listen, and you're already out of your Angler of the Year points thing, hey, come join us. Will it be another live weigh-in? Justin wants to know. Hopefully. Actually, I'd like to fish it this year with somebody. What's up, Five Spotted Bass? I'd actually like to fish it. We'll see how it goes. But, yeah, definitely want to do the weigh-in live is pretty cool. We had some good feedback on that. Only had a couple of people give us thumbs down. But I think that's the same two guys that give us thumbs down every time we put out a video. So, anyway, got my liquid bread here. Nicotine ready. We're going. I want to tell you guys a story. What's up, Bible Bass TV? How you doing, buddy? Glad you could swing by. Hey, listen, tonight on the Livewell, great show. You guys asked for it. We're bringing him back. Kevin Underwood. We're actually going to talk like the fall transition, as if does it exist or not, where the bass are, how we target them, turnover. So if you got questions on any of that stuff, you need to bring it tonight. Because I told Kevin, I said, I want to do, just like we did with Franco the other night on Topwater, I said, I want to do a very informative podcast tonight. Hey, Danny, ceramic coating a truck, not fishing yet today, but listening in. It's amazing, John G. Normally you're on the water. What's up, Nathan? Yeah, hey, listen, Thursday night football, turn it on, but turn it down and listen to us. And Aaron, I saw that you hit me up on LinkedIn. I'll get to it here in a little bit. I had a very busy morning, which is good. It's always good when these days are busy. I want to tell you guys, I'm going to give you another reason to absolutely not be able to stay in the state of New York. As if we don't have enough reasons already. Now, again, when you say New York, it's kind of like we talk about New York City. I know the people outside of New York City are country like we are. What's up, FaZe? They're pretty cool from what everybody tells me. They're just like us. But New York City, you think New York, that's what you think. And I don't like them. Don't like the Mets, don't like the Yankees, Knicks, whatever. Jets, Giants, it doesn't matter. But this has to do with fishing. And if this does not make you go, what are they thinking? I don't know what will. So let me tell you a story about a guy named Cliff Chamberlain. On August 31st of this year, Cliff Chamberlain was fishing on the Salmon River. He was fly fishing, hooked up, caught a fish. Got it in, and it ended up being a 6.5-pound pink salmon. A 6.5 pound pink salmon, which are they're not rare, but they're kind of rare up there. In fact, the only reason they're there is because there was a Canadian, and I'm going by the articles that I read on this today. There was a Canadian fishery back in the 50s, dumped a bunch of the fingerlings down a storm drain, and they got into the Great Lakes, and they took off from there. But in the Salmon River, they're not what you would expect to catch all the time. Alex says, I've met enough people from there to know I don't want to go there. What's up, Stephen? My dad said he went to New York City one time. He said it was a dump. Of course, now this is back in the 80s. It's been a long, hot minute. But anyway, this dude caught a 6.5 pound pink salmon. He didn't know what it was. Called a buddy. Buddy looked at it and said, I think that's a pink salmon. He goes, and I also think that might be the state record. What's up, Josh? He goes, that might be the state record. The state record was set in 1985, and it was 4 pounds, 15 ounces. So definitely by over a pound, this guy's got the state record, right? Well, not so fast. See what he did? He caught it, took pictures. He took it home and he froze it. 4 days later, he goes to the New York Department of Environmental Conservation. The New York Department of Environmental Conservation. Yeah, that's it. The NYDEC. To one of their biologists. Now, it had lost 0.4 pounds, so it actually got weighed by that biologist as a 6.1 pound pink salmon. Certified it. The biologist said, hey, you got the state record. Guy's happy as hell, right? Pretty cool. I think we'd all feel that way if we had a state record. Not so fast. 4 hours later, he gets a call back from the NYDEC saying, you do not have the state record due to a technicality. Now, this guy did everything right. Everything right. And you guys wait to hear what this technicality is, because I'm telling you what, it blows my mind. In 2024, the NYDEC decided that since nobody had turned in a competing pink salmon against the state record, that they were going to historically archive that fish and make that fish to where it is no longer able to be broken. Nobody can turn in one now. So even though he beat the state record by over a pound, his was not considered the state record because they said, no, since nobody's turned in one for the last 30 or 40 years or whatever, we're just going to put it over there. And then in their ultimate wisdom said, it would be unfair for us to go back now that we've archived a state record and allow somebody new to take it over. Is that not the dumbest thing you've ever heard? That's like saying, Babe Ruth, your home run record still stands because Hank Aaron, you can't break his home run record because nobody's come close in 50 years. We're going to historically archive that. Or Barry Bonds, you can't break Hank Aaron's record because nobody's done it in 34 years. We're going to historically archive that. A record is a record. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. The guy was happy as hell, got a state record, and then all of a sudden they ripped it off away from him just because they said, oh, well, we just didn't think nobody would catch anymore. And so we're going to push it to the side, and you can't do that. Now, they have done that to other fish. Here's some examples. Striped bass, American eel, kokanee salmon. Now, the reason they give the striped bass is because that population's in decline up there, and they have a state law now that says you can't keep a striped bass over 35 inches. So I get that you can't break that record, because if you were breaking it, you would be illegal possession of a fish. I kind of get that. Parker, hey, every time the fish comes up to eat the fluke, they will keep missing it. How do I hook it? Parker, real quick, are they actually hitting it? So they're taking it and you're missing it. Is that what you're saying? Let me finish this story and I'll come back to you. New York Department of Environmental Conservation, you got to do better. We might as well say, hey, George Perry, largemouth bass. No, I mean, you see how stupid that is? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Either it's a record or it's not a record. Either it was caught in your state or it was not caught in your state. Either it was caught legal or it was caught illegal. If it has done all the things and been certified by your biologist as the biggest pink salmon ever caught in the state of New York, then it should be the state record of New York. I just don't understand. Sounds a lot like DEI. I just don't understand the thinking. How hard is it to just leave it there? No, we got to historically archive it. And now it's a protected record. They said, oh, well, if people start turning in more pink salmon, we might bring it back. Well, hell, this guy gets screwed. Cliff Chamberlain ought to be one pissed off New Yorker right now. And I know I would be. If I caught a record spot, or how about this? What about there was a muskie caught in Lake Blue Ridge back in what, the 60s or 50s or whatever the hell it was, 70s? We know that ain't nobody caught one that big or even caught one since then. What if I went up to Blue Ridge tomorrow and I caught a 60-pound muskie and I just threw that weight out there? Hell, I don't even know what the record is. And I took it to the Georgia DNR and they said, no. We archived that record because we didn't expect it to ever be broken. Do you see how dumb this sounds? We should try and bring muskie back. That would be sick. I agree. But you guys, I read that and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, I hate New York, Patricia Leanne Shaw. That was like, I'm like, talking about getting screwed. I don't know. You guys can throw in there. Some of you guys are throwing in there what you're saying. But I tell you what, New York Department of Environmental Conservation, you are one of the reasons why us down here look at the state of New York and go, Now, again, I'm not knocking the people of New York, just the bureaucracy and the government. What's the old sayings? Records are made to be broken. Well, not in New York. Not in New York. No. You know what would be interesting? I'd like to go back and see actually who owns the record and see if he's related to anybody in the NYDEC. Screwed, blued, and tattooed. I mean, dang. All right. So anyway, yeah, I'm definitely knocking the people too. Alex said, I just thought, I read that. And I'm like, that's the most New York sounding shit I've ever heard. For sure. Parker wanted to know, and you guys in the comment section on YouTube or TikTok, either one, he's on Lake Lanier. He's throwing flukes and he keeps getting hit, but he's missing. And Parker, if you're still on, I need to ask, how are you hooking your fluke? Are you throwing in like a 5-aught EWG, just old Texas rig, just a little trans, whatever the hell they call that, where you got a little bit sticking back in? Is that how you're hooking them? I know a lot of guys, everybody, sounds like a liberal move, 100%. John G., I thought that rules were made to be broken. Hank said it best, a few squirrels and a porcupine. Yeah, right? That's exactly like, yeah, Hank Jr. The hell with New York City. Good morning, everybody. I hate I missed yesterday, but knocked back a couple of 6-pounders yesterday. A hard, tough life you got going on right there fishing, Colton. But how do you guys up there hook your fluke? Now, I will tell you this, Parker, I like to hook my fluke through the nose with more of like a drop shot, wacky style hook, because I think it gives more action. And generally when they come up and they bust a fluke, they are absolutely inhaling the thing. So I have no problem hooking up with them. Again, I'm not boat flipping a bunch of them, but I can pin them, get them to the net. Some guys are doing the line through kind of thing where they will use a little tube, kind of pull them the line through the nose, kind of up at a 45-degree angle or down, depending on which one they like, and they're putting a treble hook on the top or on the bottom. I think Tony did a video for FNGO that's on FNGO where he shows how he did it. Now, Lord knows when he put out one of these things on Facebook, he got 1,800 people telling him he did it wrong or whatever. So you're not going to please everybody, but there's other options. Don't bury the hook in the plastic. If he's rigging it, Texas rig, he needs to bring the hook out of the plastic. Don't even worry about putting the tip of the hook back in the plastic unless you're fishing around cover. And Alex says, I do it the same way, learn from the best. I would say either A, you got your hook buried too far in, and when you're setting the hook, you're not getting that hook to penetrate out because you're burying it back down in your fluke. Or try nose hooking it. Use a 1 or 2 aught wacky or drop shot style hook. Come right up through the bottom. I will tell you, you're going to get more action that way. Run 2 hooks. Dozer said some guys do that for sure. Steven Sturgeon says if they're truly taking it, treat it like a frog. This might work for you. Wait and feel the weight of the fish. If they're just smacking it, try changing your color or your size. John G says, on a fluke, I use a 4/0 Texas rigged hook with a small nail weight right under the chin. I never lose them. I skin hook mine. And Alex said he learned from Lip Sticker. That's Kevin. That's who will be our guest tonight. So, first of all, it's good you're getting hit. Okay, that's saying something. You're doing something right to get hit. So it's just got to be, Parker, a subtle change. I do like, Faye says it sounds like he's burying the hook too deep in the plastic. I would say, Faye, you guys that said that, I would think that that's probably what's going on. I do like Steven's idea of actually feeling it, because it is kind of very similar to topwater. We talked about that with Franco the other night. A lot of guys do that. The second we hear the kabloosh or whatever, we set the hook and we end up pulling it out of their mouth, or we're doing it way too quick. Patricia Leanne says, check out why the Georgia Striper record is a tie. Let me know that. Put it in the comments right there if you don't mind, Patricia Leanne, because I ain't got time to look it up right this second. But let me know. Atlanta Outdoors said he missed 3 on a fluke. Aaron says you got to watch your line. And I would say you do it too late, Tracy said. I guess what are you talking about on that, Tracy? I'm kind of missing that. Colton says if you want to save some money on plastics while doing the line through, save your hook savers from your chatterbaits and install them in the head of a fluke, or run your line through it. Danny, are you working yours like a jerk bait when nose hooked? I tell you what Underwood taught me. I mean, and every once in a while I will do the pop and let it just kind of do that. But on a herring fit, set the hook too late. Okay. Now, Tracy Coker Parker said you might be just setting the hook too late. That's a possibility too. But I have learned from Kevin Underwood and quite a few others. When I first started throwing a fluke a long time ago, I almost did it like a glide bait. You know what I'm talking about? Not too fast, maybe hit a couple times. But on Lake Lanier, because of the herring, you got to think, and Kevin says this all the time, you got to think like the fish. So put your mind in a herring, okay? What is the one thing a herring doesn't want to do? And that's get his ass eaten, right? And I talked to Tracy Coker about this. He went out this morning. He went out with Lip Sticker over the weekend, and he learned this. Kevin, don't slow down. A blueback herring will not slow down to let a bass eat it. His entire life is feeding, procreating, and running like hell from predators. And if you just watch blueback herring, even when they're not pressured, a blueback herring is not just sitting there going, he ain't chilling like a largemouth on a log. They move. They move, they move, they move. And when one fish takes off after it, they run, and they run till they get away. Tracy will confirm this. Alex will confirm this. I can confirm this when you go out with Kevin, because this is the way Kevin teaches the fluke game. It does sound like a good life. That's what I'm doing right now. All I do is eat. I try to procreate, and I try to, you could call debt collectors the predators, right? I'm running from predators. But it's like, what he will tell you, he never kills a fluke or any of those baits. I'm not saying like he doesn't pause a topwater for a time or other things. But like when it comes to a fluke, the second on his forward facing sonar, he sees a fish turn, not even commit, turn, flies all the way back to the boat. You say, well, I don't know if that works. Check out his Facebook page. Look at the post I made for tonight. What the hell is he doing? He's sitting there with a couple mag spots. Every time he goes, he's got mag spots. Mag spots. Tracy says yes. Maybe it's easier for me since I'm 65 and my cat-like reflexes have slowed down. You talking about letting them run with it a little bit? I understand. Doug right there. Yeah, me too. Me too. Now, what about with no forward-facing sonar, James? Well, I would say this. Let's say you got a brush pile or you know some structure that you're throwing, right? Bomb that thing over it and work it back fast. If you got it on a ball head jig or something, it's going to be a little bit tougher, like going down trying to, because he does this with a fluke even on the head. He does it when it's on top. In fact, he reels his flukes. There's no that much working of the rod. He's reeling most of the time. He gives it a twitch. It's not a full-blown Alabama shake, but he gives it a twitch, but he's reeling. If you don't have forward-facing sonar, I would say, hey, I mean, you probably can use your 2D. You probably have marked brush piles and all that. Sit back off of them. Throw it. If you're doing a ball head jig, the only way I can tell you with a ball head jig that I've seen guys do, and I've seen it work, because really you're just casting in the blind. But let's say you pull up your 30 yards from a brush pile that generally keeps fish. You want to use a ball head jig and a fluke. A lot of guys that I know, and I've done this, will bomb it past the brush pile. They will let that thing sink all the way to the bottom. They will slow roll it till they feel the first bit of brush. And the second they feel the first bit of brush, it's a couple of like 2 or 3 real hard yanks, and you can do one of two things. You can either let it die back down, hit the bottom, or you can do that and then run. I've seen it done both ways. I've seen it caught fish both ways. I've seen it done with or without forward-facing sonar. So that's, if I was throwing a fluke deep, that would be a way that you could do it. Probably not the most effective way. You're not going to be near as effective as if you were looking at forward-facing and seeing how the fish are reacting. But I just bomb it past it, run it fast over it. I will tell you this, if you fish with guys like Kevin, and again, Tracy experienced this, he now understands it, they ain't spending a lot of time on a brush pile. 3-4 cast max, go to the next one. They're either going to come up and hit that fluke or they're not. Now, you can stay there and fish other things if you want, but if you're trying to get on a fluke bite, especially one in the upper, foot of the water column, boom, 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 no fish, go to the next one. Maybe come back by. I throw my fluke on a scrounger. Now, Jim Wright, that is my favorite way to throw a fluke. I will go over here to Latham in the right time of year on certain spots of that lake. If you will take that scrounger, and I'll throw a half-ounce scrounger with a full-size super fluke on it, chunk it all the way, and then I'll let it go all the way to the bottom, and then I'll slow roll that thing. I'll hit every, you got to be willing to lose a few, but I'll hit every piece of structure down there with that scrounger. And then if I don't get a couple bites, then I will turn around and throw it. After 2 or 3 casts doing that, then I will turn around and throw it, and I'll kind of count it down mid-water column, and I'll just roll it through the middle. And if they start busting it, if you got it on a scrounger and they start busting it on top because of the weight of the fluke in the scrounger head, you can bomb-ass cast that thing, rip it right through the school. They'll hit it then too. And especially if I'm fishing a fluke deep, Jim Wright. See, that's what I'm saying. I always start out deep. And I'm just telling you, I wish William was here, because I found that bite on Latham one time, and then he and I went pre-fishing. And I said, we come to that spot, and I said, I'm going to call my shot. He said, what? I said, I'm telling you, on this scrounger, I'm getting ready to catch a good one. And, of course, we exchanged, whatever. Second cast, boom, 4-pound largemouth. Third cast, hooked one, got off. Fourth cast, had about a 4-pound largemouth. Now, I hit that spot, it was done with. But it's like certain times and in certain places, you can't beat a scrounger on a fluke. Now, what I will do is if it's low light and it's cloudy, I'll throw a white fluke. If it's sunny, I will throw something like the Zoom, like the disco green, things like that. I love a scrounger. I went to Allatoona. Wasn't even scrounger time. Fish weren't coming up on top water like they're supposed to be now, and it was hot. I took a scrounger, threw it across it was a hump or a point, let it sink to the bottom, slow rolled it, boom, boom. They weren't the biggest fish out there, but it will catch fish And I think it catches fish year round. I think you can go right down the middle of a ditch. That old ditch bite, I think you can take a scrounger and do the same thing. Just slow it down, tick the rocks. Let's see. Back to why the stripers are tied. Because the scales they weighed it on doesn't weigh ounces, so it got rounded off to 62 pounds. That's the thing. How do you keep the scrounger from line twisting? You know, I throw it on a bait caster. I've never really had a problem with it, Matt Brown. To be honest with you, I've never had one twist my line. Have any of you guys ever had a problem with the scrounger and line twist? I just haven't. Just haven't noticed that. 2 swivels. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I've just never, I've never really had it mess mine up. Small swivel and a small split ring will work. Yeah, for sure. If you're getting any kind of line twist, you get that little small swivel and all that. It's never really affected the bait caster that I throw it on. And I do throw it on my crankbait bait caster. I don't throw it on a very fast one. I throw it on the old, I got that Abu Garcia winch. I actually throw my scrounger on a winch because I like to slow roll it. So I don't know, maybe if it's because I'm not fishing it fast, maybe I don't get that, but I really have never had a problem with it. But a couple guys right there gave you some good suggestions. Now, and again, I throw a heavier one. I don't mess with the 8s so maybe that can contribute to it. You throw it on a winch too. Yeah, I don't know, buddy. I really don't know. What pound test you throwing it on, just out of curiosity? Let's see. Also, when mine hits the water, I'll reel it fast, making it skim across the top, go back to the flukes, getting their attention, then work it back to me pretty fast, popping it about every 5 reel turns. What's up, Ed? I'm going to use a scrounger Saturday. You should. Is Underwood bottom weighting his fluke hook, like with wire or weightless? When I fished with him, he didn't either. 15 pounds? Is that what you guys were throwing over there on that scrounger? Now, I'm a little different. I throw mine on 12-pound. 12-pound fluoro. I'm one of those that go a little bit lighter. I don't throw a lot of heavier weights. It's probably bit me in the ass a time or two. But I generally, 12-pound across the board is where I'm at with a lot of things. The largemouth hit it on Sinclair. You guys are talking about that scrounger. Let's see. You guys are really throwing it in the comments right there. I've never caught a fish on a scrounger. I hooked into what I thought was a striper last year, and it came off screaming the drag. Probably was. A bait caster shouldn't twist. Maybe your lip is twisted some. All right, yeah, I didn't even ask that. 3/4 ounce, 15-pound test is what Dozer throws. What were you, Matt? Are you throwing it on a bait caster or are you throwing it on a spinning reel? Just out of curiosity. Brandon Hall, where are you guys from? Keep seeing you on my page and enjoy the content. North Georgia, baby. We are just between Dawsonville and Jasper, Georgia, in a little community called Marble Hill. So appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, my ugly mug is all over the place, and I apologize for that. I wish I was better looking. But yeah, hey, listen, and get on YouTube and follow us. Subscribe to the channel. Tyler, no, not a 21-pound largemouth, 21 inches, dude. If you got line twist on a scrounger, something is wrong. Okay, so all right, so he's throwing it on a bait caster with 1/2 to a 3/4 inch scrounger head on 16-pound sunline. Well, Matt, I'm just reading the comments over here. And Greg Watley says, if you got line twist on a scrounger, something's wrong. So it's very hard to say what's wrong. Like I said, like I throw it on a bait caster. I have never had a problem with line twist. So there's got to be something off, just something. Because you're not getting any spin. Really, you're getting no spin. It just wobbles. And so now, guys, we got to figure out, we got to help this guy. Why do you think he might be getting line twist? Bait caster with a 1/2 to 3/4 ounce scrounger on 16-pound sunline. So we'd love for you guys to be able to kind of throw out some possibilities that we might can help Matt with. Because Matt, really, be honest with you, buddy, I don't know without seeing it in action. But I can't figure out. Really, I've only had line twist problems anytime I threw certain things on spinning reels. I'd get a little bit, but then I went to braid, and that kind of eliminates a lot of that. Let's see. I'm glad you figured out he's a kayaker now. Yeah, them kayak guys always throw you off. What kind of bait they tossing, Ed? We're talking about a scrounger. He's throwing a 1/2 to 3/4 ounce scrounger on a bait caster with 16-pound sunline, and he's having a problem with line twist. And I really don't know how to help him because I throw pretty much a half-ounce scrounger, and I just don't have it. And we're throwing it on the same reel, the winch, Abu Garcia winch. Let's see. Where are we talking about? Tracy Coker wants to know, Matt, are you using a paddle tail or a fluke style bait on the back of your scrounger? That is a possibility, boys. It might be the size of your line. Jim Wright says, try smaller line. I throw 12. Aaron says a bobber stopper with a glass bead and a bullet weight is what I use to get it deep. I get that. Gone Fishing with Ed said, try a different line. You guys really think it might be the line like too big? Smaller diameter. Okay. Maybe the line is already twisted from the way it was spooled. Possibility. A trailer like a fluke might take the spin out. So like I will say this, like I do not throw paddle tails on the back of my scrounger. It is a fluke style bait. Sometimes I might go to a smaller one, but it's always a fluke style bait. I'm gonna read, Matt, if you're still here, I'm gonna be reading off some stuff here on YouTube. A lot of guys commenting on that. Let's see. If the line is twisted and the bait is spinning, certain scroungers are bad at spinning. It could be, yeah. What brand of scrounger are you using? We didn't even ask that. Is it line twist or just line memory from being on the spool? Too big of a line on lighter spinning reels can cause line twist. Let the line out of the back of the boat and troll 4 or 5 miles per hour. Let it get all the way out and then reel it back in. See if that helps. You might be using a knockoff scrounger. Again, we're back to what brand of scrounger you might be using. I started on 15 pound. This is Jim Wright said, I started on 15 pound, had some twist, went to 12 and didn't have any. So, I mean, and John says he uses 12 and then the lip might need to be replaced to land outdoors. So it sounds to me like, Matt, if you're still here, the majority of the guys are talking about the line. The majority. He goes, I'll try 12. I tell you, listen, I throw on mine, I throw InvizX 12 Seagar. A little pricey, but good line. So it's 12 pound. And I really, honestly, I have not experienced that. Let's see. Tracy Coker said, I've seen the paddle tail twist on the Pulse fishing head. They won't spin with a straight tail. And then Colton Posey said, is he maybe using too light of a scrounger and reeling it in too fast? That's all I can think of with the line twisting. Mine swims straight. So, but all of it seems like it comes back to the weight of something. Because with a bait caster, you shouldn't experience the line twist. Or it should be really kind of, what's the right word I'm trying to look for? Picasso scrounger comes with a snap. Feel like that would minimize the twist too. Minimize. Thank you, Atlanta Outdoors. I don't know why I couldn't get the word minimize. Tripp says the scrounger brand is huge, for sure. Now, if you're throwing a Temu scrounger, you might get some line twist. He says, I can't remember the brand of scrounger, but I used a 5-inch Jerky J. Okay. Try that, Matt, and, come back at a later time, and it might be very interesting to see if the 12-pound solves your problem. An off-center trailer will cause the head to spin too. That's the thing a lot of people don't talk about. You got to put your trailer on right, and you are correct. China scrounger only catch tuna. Dozer said it. I didn't. Dozer said it. I didn't. Very, I tell you what though. This is why I love this thing. You guys helping out another guy, and we all can learn something too. I think just if I had never thrown a scrounger before, and listening to me talk, trying to help out Matt and you guys in the comments and all that, I think I could take away the following: don't use a cheap scrounger. Make sure tuna in a can. Listen at you. Don't use a cheap scrounger. Make sure your trailer's on correctly. Your line can be too big, or your scrounger can be too light. So somebody could take those 4 or 5 different things. A lot of you guys said line. Aquaholic. He goes, I don't even know what that is. But would a swivel help? Swivel's a possibility. Aquaholic, you know what a scrounger is. It's one of these, and listen, if you're looking, it's a jig head with a big piece of plastic that sticks up right behind it. And as you reel it, it just kind of wobbles the bait. You've probably seen 100 of them. You might not know it being called by a scrounger. Now, Matt says it's not a Picasso, but it is a name brand. I just can't remember the name. Let's see, Matt. Go get you some 12-pound line, and let's throw it, and then come back if you don't mind and report to us and see if that fixed the issue. What is you said a half or 3/4 ounce. So, yeah, you're throwing your scrounger's plenty heavy enough. It's a chatterbait with a round plastic lip instead of a metal one, kind of, sort of. Yeah, that's a good way. There's 100 ways you can describe it, but generally it's that big old piece of plastic up the top. I think it comes from up north, right? Or either like somebody that fishes ledges or something like that. Hell, I don't remember. But I will say this. It's effective as hell at catching some bass and catching some big largemouth even on spot lakes. Spots will hit it too. It's kind of like a pulse fish jig head minus the fish head look. Yeah. You guys are talking about flukes up there. John says the Zoom white was a chartreuse tailor on fire in the rivers, or I'll buy white ones and nip the tail. When I buy flukes, I'll thumb through the packages on the rack and get the pack where they're all straight in the pack. They don't work right if they're jacked up. 100%. And you shouldn't have to boil flukes to straighten them out. What size bait would you use on a scrounger now? I've got fluke styles of about all sizes. I use a super fluke. Not that big mag one, but not, you got the straight flukes, about 5 inches, 4.5, 5 inches. And then the super fluke is 6? The one size up. I use that. I never have a problem with it. I never throw paddle tails, anything else. I just stick. I'll let you know the results this evening or tomorrow. Thanks for the input. Man, hey, listen, really want to know, so thank you for watching. I really want to know if that helps. And I'm talking about for my own curiosity. Really want to know. But when it comes to a scrounger, I don't throw anything else but the fluke. And I told you what I do with colors. Cloudy, early in the morning, late in the evening, white or pearl, but a solid color. Don't try today. There's no fish in Lanier today. Aquaholic must be fishing right now. Or either he's not fishing. He doesn't want you to go catch his fish. Is that right, Aquaholic? I think I got you on that. Maybe occasionally I'll dip the tail, John G. Maybe. Oh, he just got home. All right. So he'd be going from fishing. There you go. You didn't do no good. And if it's sunny, I go with, you got your disco purple, your disco green, the translucent with a lot of reflective. He goes, Matt Brown says, my home lake is Chick, so you're good. You ain't gotta worry, Aquaholic. That boy's up in Tennessee. But yeah, Matt, let us know. Man, I'm going to be thinking about that the rest of the day. And I'm going to ask Kevin when he gets here tonight. But, yeah, I just go straight with the flukes. Now, I will say this. I was on Chick one time. And we were really struggling to get fish to bite. And we were practicing. It wasn't even in a tournament, I don't think. And I had a very, very, very light scrounger. One of the smaller ones. And I had at the time, it was some trickster baits. They were real small flukes. 3-inch maybe. And we were back around some docks or something like that. I'm trying to remember, but I do remember putting that thing on a small scrounger and chunking it out and just reeling real slow and catching some spots on Chick. But they were not big. The spotted bass on Chick that we got into were nothing like Lake Lanier's. Caught some good largemouth, but not those spots. I remember we were kind of struggling, just trying to figure some bites out or something like that. And I remember putting it on there. Very small. 2.5-inch trickster, Tracy Coker said. Yeah, I just remember I haven't used trickster baits in a while. Need to get some here in the shop. The cast minnow is great for the scrounger as well. Now, see, that's too. Now, again, I haven't fished with the Cast Echo stuff since they came out, especially since they come out with the larger stuff. I haven't thrown it on the scrounger yet, but they even say, you're right, they say it's deadly on a scrounger. But again, it's that straight tail, right? I would not use a Prodigy, their paddle tail. I would use their Echo for sure. And that's just me. You guys might like to use the paddle tails. To me, the action on a scrounger is caused by the head. And if you put a paddle tail on the back, now you got the paddle tail action working against the head action. Doesn't make any sense to me. So kind of like I would never put, even on a chatterbait, unless some guys turn them upside down or something like that. But I don't use paddle tails on a chatterbait. It's always straight because you're letting the bait actually do all the action. So I don't really know why. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, which is quite possible, which is very possible. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but like I would never throw a paddle tail style bait on a scrounger. If you've done it and you've had success, good for you. I just, not me. Glue the rattle in the cast echo if you use on a scrounger. Yeah. I actually, I'll pull those rattles out. I will pull those rattles out, and sometimes I'll put a little nail weight. I'll put a little nail weight in there just to kind of give it a little more, if I can cast it and move it. Now, of course, Aquaholic, who says he can't catch fish on Lanier, has had luck with a paddle tail on chatter. I'm not saying it don't work. But to me, you got that blade. The blade, I mean, you see my hand, the blade on the chatterbait's doing this. You're kind of wasting the paddle tail. You see what I'm saying? You're not really, I mean, what is the paddle tail going to be able to do since you got that big blade? Now, he does glue it because it saves the rattles, and he pops them into the tail of he saves the rattles, and he pops them into the tail of a shaky head. Guys, listen, there's a little juicy secret right there from Gone Fishing with Ed. You take your rattles out of your cast baits, glue that little hole shut, I guess, or whatever, and then he takes those and he sticks them in the tail of a shaky head. I got you, Ed. That's a sneaky little trick right there. I like it. Now, I saw some people up there talking about, I think it was Colton, talking about, let me go back up, because he was talking about getting flukes out. Ed goes, shh, Ed, you ought to know on this show and on this channel, if you tell me anything, it's going out. Got to help my brothers out catch more fish, right? Colton Posey says, the last 8 packs of Zoom flukes I bought have been bent up. I'm considering buying my own molds and just making my own. And that's a shame. I fussed about that. I have fussed at Zoom about that before. You should not have to boil your flukes out of the pack because whoever packaged them at your facility did not pack them right. I'm not saying it happens with all their baits, but it does happen with their flukes. And I don't know why. Because it's a great fluke. But you're right, Colton. I mean, I can't. And here's the thing is I sell the things. It is embarrassing. Not really embarrassing. Embarrassing might not be the right word. It is frustrating when a customer comes back and says that. Man, half them flukes were bent. And I said, well, you need to boil them. They shouldn't. Danny has me over here busting out my scrounger heads for my tournament this weekend on hard labor. Listen. It'll work there. I'm telling you, it'll work there. Now, maybe not so much in that grass over by the cow field and the fence right there. You know what I'm talking about. If that grass is still there, it's been a hot minute since I've been there. You going way on up in that lake? I mean, like way up hard labor? Like way up, you know what I'm talking about. It'll work. Now, if it don't work, it's operator error, and it's not FNGOs. We claim no responsibility if you don't catch any fish. You know the spot. I moo at the cows. Biggest bass I've ever seen in hard labor, though, followed up an old monster at the end of that fence one time. He would not hit it. I tried everything, but that was one of those that I like. Yeah, I puckered up on my backside. It was so big. You can also trim the width on a scrounger and make it have a more subtle action in cold water. Yeah. And Tim Hancock, I can see you tinkering with it. I could see you like, let me see what would happen if I did this. 100%. Would not surprise me at all. Alex says, that's why I buy from small businesses that package them with care. Yes. And that's kind of what I've been thinking with all this. You know, Alex pushing the mom and pops, the mid-sized companies and down that are not trying to put out 5,222,000 baits in a given week for quotas and production. They just pour them. Hey, listen, because here's the thing. A company can get big enough where they just don't give a crap. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they can get, I'm not saying too big for their britches, but sometimes quality control suffers a little bit. You get what I'm saying? Buy some flukes from Underwood and you'll never have to boil them. I got them. Yeah, I got his here. I sell the daylights out of them. Yeah, you can get them on his site, or I got them here. As soon as I'm done redoing the website, because I'm getting ready to change the entire website and the store and everything on the website, they'll be available there too. Do I ever watch Money Bass on Lanier? No. I know who he is. I don't watch him. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I mean, it's not nothing about him. I don't. But seems like a good dude. Guess the weight, win the money. Okay, there you go. That 7.2 Echo on a scrounger is fire. The only time I use something flapping on a chatterbait is the original speed worm, and I do not cut it down. It makes a good waking action. A Demiki Armor Shad is a good fluke replacement. All right, that makes sense. What's up, Kevin? Underwood's in a thing. I look forward to seeing you tonight, dude. Colton said, I didn't have to boil them for the past 20 years. Why the last 3 years are all jacked up? Ed Chambers would be putting a whipping on those boys if he was here. I'll just let that comment speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? Clamshell packaging would help keep those flukes straight. That's a cost thing, I guarantee you with that. I cooked 1 pack of flukes in a pot. Wife made me keep it outside for sure. I'll be using my scrounger in a creek on creek bends, deep walls. Excellent spot for it. In fact, where I like to use it is very much almost kind of, Latham doesn't have true ledges, but there is a couple spots on Latham where you got the bank and it does drop, and it's a straight steep drop, flattens out into an old road bed. So it's kind of like an L. Maybe not a perfect L, but you guys know kind of what I'm saying. Had some down structure. Some of it's rotted away, but had some brush on it, down trees and all it. And you can, I mean, if you can just if you can bring that scrounger through, and again, it's like buying a Jeep and bitching about the gas mileage. You shouldn't do it. If you're throwing scroungers down there in structure, you're going to lose 1 or 2. So you got to be prepared for that. But if you could just tick the tops of those branches, dude, you would get hammered. Better have you a good, almost like your crankbait rod. I actually use one of my crankbait setups that's got that good parabolic bend, because if a big one hits it, it will hook it. You really don't have to do that much to it. It pretty much hooks itself, and you just kind of pull into it. But the right time of year on Latham, they'll hammer that thing. And I'm talking about the largemouth. I know it's got spots in there too, but I'm talking about the largemouth. And they'll do it on Lanier too. I get Hard Labor and Hickory Creek all mixed up. Yeah, Hickory Log's up here. Hard Labor is about 2 hours from here. Great Lake, I wish it was closer. Costs a little more to get in that thing, though. But it's big. For electric-only reservoir, Hard Labor is a big, big lake. Kevin says with his flukes, and I can attest to this, he packages those one at a time. One at a time. It's the only way to do it. Don't boil your plastics in wifey's cooking dishes. 100%. Mm-hmm. My wife don't like me to do anything in the kitchen. How much is parking at Hard Labor? I want to say last time I went, it was like $10. You guys that fish Hard Labor a lot, let me know. I think it's $10. And it's been 2 years since I've actually been to Hard Labor. If the flukes are bent, there was not enough oil on the fluke making them stick when packaging. It's a good point. Quality control has become complacent in too many things these days. Yeah, for sure. Tim says, I did trim the scrounger head in January once, caught a couple of 2 or 3 pound fish, then a 6-pounder piled on. I love it when something I tinker with works. Yeah, 100%. Again, the best part of the day. Rob, I love you, dude. I love you. Aaron says, quality control for everything has gone downhill since COVID. Our last 3 tournaments this year, Hard Labor, Hickory Log, Latham. Let me know, Ed, when you're over here at Latham. I'll walk across the street and meet you. Like, I literally can step out my front door and I'll be at the boat ramp in less than a minute. There's the White House right across from the boat ramp. That's Kyle, my neighbor. I'm the very next driveway down the hill. I should go over there and watch the results of tournaments more. I forgot you're a kayaker. Pulled a 24-inch bass out of Hickory last year. That's a good one. Ed, tell me, how much did it weigh? Yeah, let me know. How much did you also too? How much did your 24-inch bass weigh? How common is a crawl on a shaky head? Feel like working it would put good action on the claws. I will say this. And then Patricia Leanne said, I saw Rick Clun on Lake Yona one time. That'd be pretty cool. I'll say this. A lot of you guys may or may not remember Beasley. It was only 6 pounds, real skinny. That's don't surprise me at Hickory Log in the summertime. Now in February, them bass are huge. I remember Beasley the last, before he had his accident and all that. We were in Vance Tavern fishing. Me, him, and Ryan went out, and he was throwing, and I can't remember if it was on a shaky head or not. It was either a shaky or a wobble, but I want to say it was a shaky head. But he would use creature style baits. Sometimes he'd use some of your flipping baits, and then sometimes he would use, crawls and all that, and he would throw those and drag them across the humps and everything. As opposed to us, I was throwing a wacky. Ryan was probably throwing a shaky head. But I remember seeing Beasley do that night and thinking that was kind of interesting. Now, if you remember him, that kid could fish. I mean, it would not have shocked me had he gone pro. He loved it like no other. But he could fish. And if you saw all the high school tournaments and everything, like he was there. If he didn't win it, he was mad. He took that serious. But he put his time in on the water and all that. But that's just one thing I remember him doing, was throwing crawfish and flipping style baits. And I think it was a shaky head. Is it common? I don't know if it's common. But that might have been one thing in his arsenal that helped him beat a lot of the kids. I mean, he could do all the other stuff too. But I remember that night. It was the last time I ever fished with him. That's what he was using. And it was during, I remember the spots were spawning. So May, it might have been a little earlier than that. I remember it was warm. Underwood said Beasley was a phenomenal angler. He fished some tournaments with me a few times. Kid had it. Now he's on that good lake in the sky, though. But, yeah, he was good. Goofy bastard, though. I loved him. I always go, Beasley, you need to get a girlfriend. That's what he do. Go, spotted bass are my love. I've just now started putting the tail end of a dinger on my jigs and had decent results on it. I like the dingers with the chartreuse tail. Yeah, you could do that. People will do that. A lot of people will do that. We talked about it on several episodes. And I'm going to try. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday. Lake Oconee isn't the number one fishery. Hey, Oconee Joe, I agree with you. Not saying it's bad. Not saying it's a bad fishery. But I remember when we talked about that list, thought it was ranked a little high. But still a great fishery. Just, I don't know if it's quite as high as what they had it in that thing. Appreciate you joining us. We're going to do it. Ryan, I'd already asked Ryan Sheffield if he'd come on next Tuesday night. But I'm going to see the guy called me up and goes, hey, you need to do a throwback show. So I'm going to get Farmer. I'm going to see if Farmer's available and have Farmer and Ryan on with me and Alex. I'll give Clint can come up here and hang out, but maybe give him the night off or something like that. But just let these two, and we'll probably be talking, given this time of year, we'll probably talk jigs, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll talk jigs. Because while they can fish other ways, that's cranking, Farmer can crank like hell too. And I'll tell you this, I'll tell you what, this is true. You want to know the moment I figured out that Jonathan Farmer was a hell of a daggum angler? Lake Notley, scrounger, full size. It was half or three-quarter with a full-size fluke. And I was watching him skip that joker. And I'm not talking about just skipping it under the dock. I'm talking about it putting it through a hole about the width of a Coke can on this side and sending that thing through that same hole on the other side of the dock. Being at the front of a dock and skipping that scrounger all the way up the walkway. And I'm like, man, how do you skip a scrounger, dude? So, of course, I tried it. Kabloosh, backlash. Fix it. Let me try again. Kabloosh, backlash. He just heard this. Brrr. And I'm like, I have never. That's the key on Oconee is skipping. Yeah, Farmer can do it. Ryan can do it. I can do it with a weightless wacky worm on a spinning rod, especially in the summer. Yeah, 100%. But I'd never seen anybody skip a scrounger. I mean, you think about that big cup hitting the water. If you don't do it right, that's a dead stop. And he would just, it was amazing. And he caught fish. But that was the first time, like when he did that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I sat and watched him skip docks for about 30 minutes. Like, dude, teach me that witchcraft. Like, it's true witchcraft the way he skips a scrounger. He's just a big old dumb redneck. No, I mean, he's not dumb. I tease him. Just a big old boy from Fannin County. But, man, that was the first time I saw him, and I went, okay, this guy might be really good. Just on his skipping ability alone. That was one of the most impressive things I've seen, because his scrounger, it wasn't a little bitty one. It was a big one. And, of course, they can all skip everything. Hell, they're skipping buzz baits and stuff. I mean, just things that I didn't think you could do. But, yeah. So, anyway, some guy hit me up yesterday, one of my friends. He goes, you need a throwback show. So I think Tuesday I'm going to try to do that with him. But we'll probably be talking a lot of jigs. Tactical fishing, MRE on a shaky head is money. That's interesting too. That's interesting on a shaky head. I don't think a lot of people would think about putting that on a shaky head. Sometimes, I mean, you know, it kind of makes more sense sometimes to put those smaller crawl style baits or things like that on a shaky head, because that's what the bass see a lot of. Now, we like throwing big mag hit worms and all that things, but I don't know. I mean, when's the last time you used in the water and it was full of 8-inch worms? I mean, don't get me wrong, they work. They work. But a lot of people think that's what you got to do all the time, and they don't think outside the box, and they don't put something different like that. I know a lot of guys, we were talking about flukes earlier. I know a lot of guys catch a lot of bass with a fluke on a shaky head. This looks like a, you know, pop. Now, they're not dragging it as much. It's more of a skip and pop. That happens. I've seen guys do that, and I'm being like, okay, that makes sense. A guy at Buford Bait and Tackle swore by using a 4-inch fat Albert on a shaky head. Man, I got to go see Dave and the guys over there at Buford Dam Bait and Tackle. Good guys. Good guys. They carry my jigs over there, too. I need to see if they need any more. We need Emil or Paul to win the Classic. Yeah, we do. I would be happy if either one of those won it. I'd like to see Drew Cook win it. I'd like to see the Georgia boys. You see what I'm saying? And I know Drew, he's from down south Georgia. He's a flatlander. We don't hold that against him. Great guy. But, yeah, I'd love for Emil or Paul, either one of those. We'd be tickled here. Absolutely. Still wouldn't be able to get Paul to come on the show because he's probably still, second he wins the Classic, he'll go off duck hunting or something. Seriously, he will. That night I had Emil on a few weeks ago. Hey, let's get Paul on same time too. Emil, not even me. See you later, Tracy. Emil hit Paul up. Emil hit me back. Well, he's not going to be in town. And I was like, no shit. He never is. Farmer takes a lot of pride in his ability to put a bait where he wants it. That is what separates, if you ask me, one of the traits that separates a fantastic angler from an average angler. Honestly. I bought some from the Farmer Special and Cheat Code. They look great. The store is basically 3 minutes from my house. Drew is actually from Panama City. Yeah, but he lives in Georgia. We claim him now. He's in Cairo. We claim him. But good dude. He's an exceptionally good dude. I like him anyway. But that what you just said right there, though, Alex, that's the difference between somebody that can fish these higher level tournaments and then the most of us guys can go out there and catch fish. We can catch fish. But these guys that are consistent, especially with big fish, it's absolutely amazing. And then even when you're on the boat like with Underwood and you're dealing with, and you got your forward facing sonar going. Well, now the fish are so pressured that even though your trolling motor is facing that way and you're deadlocked on the fish, if you throw it and your bait comes down just to the side of it, you wasted a cast because they're so locked in on their habits right now. Much less being able to skip it under a dock or put it under a walkway or making sure, when you throw it, you're landing in the split of the tree and not on. I mean, there's all kinds of things, but I think that's what makes the best anglers are the ones that can do exactly that. Taking pride and putting the bait exactly where you want it. Not close. I'm a close guy. Hell, if it's in within 10 foot, I feel like I made a good cast. But if you're the guy that can put it within 6 inches, that's the difference. Pontoon Jody got skunked again last night. Lady, don't make me come out there and show you how to catch some catfish in Tennessee now. You know why? Didn't you say you was using crappie last night? Didn't you say that on yesterday's show that you were using crappie? That's why you're supposed to be eating them things. I know it got brought up. I'm sorry you got skunked. Hey, listen. You just got to keep going back out. You got to keep going back out. You know that. I'll put flukes on a shaky head too. Matt Brown says skipjack. Oh, yeah, he's from up that way. Skipjack. That's what we fished with when I was up there. Skipjack and frozen or previously frozen bluegill. Now listen, Dane. Dane says, I'll get to you, Patricia. Dane Hunter says, Farmer doesn't fish enough now. His casting has gotten horrible. Still better than mine, but by his standard, he can't cast anymore. Yeah, I know. But that's the thing, brother. Like his standard and our standard are two different things. Two different things. He gets his house sold and gets his other house built and all that. He'll get, well, of course, he's got kids. He's got kids. And them kids are at that age now. I went through it. A lot of you guys went through it where all of a sudden your free time is going to be very, very few and far between and valuable. Valuable. But yeah, you're right, Dane. Drew and Kyle are fixing to battle it out for Angler of the Year in the NPFL next week. Who do I got? I'm pulling for Drew. But I'm happy with either one. Both are fine guys. I will always pull for Drew. Kyle T says preach. Yeah. But I could be fine with either one of them. Either one of those are fine. They're both, but I had both of them. Kyle was on the show one time on the Livewell. Drew's been on 3 times, I think. Both good guys. And I'm waiting for this to get over with so that I can hit them up and say, hey, I need you back on the show. Let them get done with their responsibilities. Let me hit my TikTok guys up. I need an assistant to come in here once a week or once a day and just sit here long enough to do this live, redo the TikTok stuff every time it goes bonkers over there. Resume. Now you guys are good. Kevin Underwood does say this, though. Oh, I just saw this on TikTok. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. I hope it wasn't mine. He said, we're talking about making the cast and all that, but he said that's the second most important thing. The first is knowing your fish, being able to know your fish. And that's kind of what I said earlier, Kevin, when we were talking about Tracy Coker came in here and was talking about learning. We were talking about how you work your fluke and all that. And he saw how you did some of that over this past weekend. And we were talking about that. It was just even knowing, when you say know your fish, yeah, also know your bait, like your blueback, how your blueback, acts naturally and what its tendencies are. So, yeah, that's important too. But, yeah, I totally get it. That's why I like to fish lily pads. Accuracy isn't as paramount. You're right. And listen, I fly fish every once in a while for trout. Not near as much as my partner and other guys that come up here, but every once in a while I'll do that. And sometimes I catch a fish. I'll make the perfect cast and never catch a fish. And sometimes I will just make an absolute awful cast and I catch a fish. Most important thing is you got to be in the water, right? If you're in the water, you can almost see old Carrie saying, well, you're saying there's a chance. I'm getting close to being able to put a bait where I want it. Got more work to do. Yeah. I mean, listen, and listen, I'll be honest with you. You're young. Do it now. Learn that stuff now. I get off. I don't go home and practice casting or flipping or not. I probably should. I probably should have it set up in here because when I ain't got nothing to do, just being here flipping and things like that. But I don't. And it shows. It shows. It is going to be a good tournament. Now, then we got the what is that big thing going on, that big tournament going on in Alabama? on Gunnersville. They're having a big bass bash at the same time, but that Ultimate Angler trying to. I think Josh is going to be doing. He's going to some fly fishing festival or something like that. More power to him. I don't want to go to that. So I'm going to try to see if I can find a guy that run a camera and go with me, and we go cover that. Because there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of great locals here, a lot of great anglers in that thing. $500,000 first place prize, crazy. Chris Crosby, what water clarity would you throw the OG in? Would you throw it on Lake Oconee? Well, that's a good question. You could throw it on Oconee. You could, I mean, it catches fish. Even like we were talking about. Did you watch the episode the other night, Chris? Tuesday night when I had Franco on, and we were talking about the OG, and they were talking about guys in Washington catching fish with it. So to me, it sounds like it works everywhere. My experience is, of course, only right here on Linear. You did, yeah. So you know what? I don't know, but if I were you, I would reach out. I know they're going to say yes. And maybe there's a little subtle difference in how you work it, but I'd go on Facebook and I would message Franco. It is GIA Franco Corrado. So Gia, something like that. I just call him Franco because hell, I can't pronounce it half the time. I would message him just like he said on Facebook or Instagram and say, hey, listen, I'm Oconee, a little bit different water. Will it work there? And maybe give me a subtle tip. I would say you could. I really would say you could, but I'm not the guy. Clearwater is the only time I've ever thrown it. Sammy looks like a heron closer to anything. And it can. It can. What's up, traveling fisherman? Alex never thought about putting a fluke on a shaky head. Interesting. Oh, yeah, a lot of guys put flukes on shaky head. They don't talk about it a lot, but a lot of guys do that. Man, I can cast or skip a bait anywhere I want, but when it comes to flipping, I don't know why I can't hit anything I aim at. You're not alone, Colton. See, that's funny. Like, yeah, some guys can do one or the other. I know a few guys that can do both, but yeah, I can do neither. So see, hey, listen, I'm starting fresh, new. I just cast. So, but very interesting thoughts on the shaky head. Didn't have that on my bingo card. It's what we're going to talk about today, but you can put anything. I remember on a Texas rig back in the day when I first moved over on Latham, I would get a Zoom crawl. They called them something different back then, I think. Franco did give out some great juice, and I guarantee he would help you with Oconee as well, Chris. 100%. I guarantee he would help you with that. And if you can't get him, let me know and I'll get him. But I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get him. He might be on the water, so it might take him some time to get back to you. Or hit Clint. Hit Clint up on Facebook. Just tell him we were talking about it today on the show and ask him about it because he throws that thing too. Or you could hit Ryan. Hell, hit Ryan Hanks directly. All of them will hit you back, I promise you. But I would think you could. I think they might be more color specific. Maybe in the dirtier water, they might want one color over the other. But I'm pretty sure you could throw it there. I'll get back to my shaky head comment in a second, or my Zoom crawl. There's flipping, and then there's pitching. They're different things. Yes, you're right. And I'm not good at either one of them. I got good at flipping by just casting at random targets in the yard when I was bored, when I was younger in high school, and they never stopped. That's like, do it when you're young. That's the best thing to do for sure. I need to do that a lot, Cody. Patricia says, flipping, skipping, dipping, whipping, getting out of hand. Yeah, hey, it is. Best two things I taught myself, how to skip and flip with either hand. I could see where that could come in handy. And then Cody says, and when I'm on the water, I just make myself cast to harder targets. Yeah, for sure. But I was going back to talking about those cross style baits and things on Shaky Head. I remember when Latham first opened up, I would take a Texas rig and I would put a little Zoom crawl on it, the little pumpkin colored one with the chartreuse claws. I'd wax bass on it. I mean, I caught fish left and right over there on it. Why I ever got away from throwing it, something Shaky Head might have come out or something different. But I do remember there was a time that anywhere on Latham back in the day, Now I say anywhere. A lot of places back in the day chunk that little craw out on the Texas rig, and man, it just get ripped. But that was before it was a herring fishery too. I'm not sure why it wouldn't work. We just put out a TikTok from one of the lunch breaks the other day about old school baits. And since we got Tim Hancock in here, and I know he's got a house full of these things, about old school baits and old school techniques that still work, people just don't use them anymore. They never stopped working. Never stopped working. But they're not sexy. And I mentioned Kevin throwing the jitterbug. He loves the jitterbug at night. I mean, that damn thing's been around since Eisenhower or whatever. Been around a long time. The fish still hit it. They still will crush it, but it's not a sexy bait. Things like just throwing, I find on certain lakes, guys think a shaky head's better than Texas rig, but I can tell you back in the 80s, I never heard of something called a shaky head. I didn't even know that was an option. Hell, it might not have been back then. Everything was with a Texas rig. Danny, have you heard from Crankin' and Yankin? Sorry for going off subject. He commented on the show the other night, Colton, Tuesday night. I got his number if you want me to reach out to him and make sure he's okay. But yeah, he was on the show, and because he made fun of me because he sent us a picture making fun of forward-facing sonar, just like Crankin' and Yankin does, but it was via a picture of a bowler, and it was a guy. It said bowlers using forward-facing sonar, and the guy had almost like a walker, like your granny, your great grandmother, one of them used to use, and off that walker was two pieces of tubing coming straight, and he was just sitting his bowling ball right there. And he was like, bowlers using forward-facing sonar. So he seems like he's okay. I know he's going through a little rough spell. I'll reach out to him, ask him how he's doing after I get off of this, for sure. My favorite crawl was the Berkeley Power Bait Chigger Crawl. I've started using Middle Bait's Chunky D a lot more recently instead of that chigger, but that chigger crawl is dangerous. I used to have some of those chigger crawls here. I might actually have a pack or two stored away somewhere back in here. Never fished with them, though. Let's see. Where we go? Yeah, we do. Hey, listen, that's what this whole thing's about. If we can crank out some juice for you guys, that's what we're here for. We want you to catch more fish. We ain't gatekeepers. Now, there is a few bite club secrets. You got to belong to bite club. We'll just talk about things a little bit different. But if you want to know what bite club is talking about, you got to come up here when bite club is here. And then we will tell you that belongs to bite club. And then we'll do it for a while, and then we'll let it out. All right. Most of that's around colors. Okay. Biggest fish in Lake Lanier live under bridges and around marinas. Tracy Coker got popped off yesterday, but he went with Kevin, and he was telling me about going with Kevin. This is funny. But real quick, Chris Johnson said, I've won more money on a chigger crawl than any other thing. Yeah, I can believe it. I think I got some around here. I ain't never thrown it. Texas rig, 3/8 ounce normally. There you go. See, and that's a TikTok juice right there, boys. But he was talking about fishing with Kevin. And I looked at Tracy and Kevin. Of course, you're on here, and I fished with you enough to know. I said, he was talking about as they got going out and going. I said, let me guess. They start off doing this. I said, yeah, but before the day was over, did you hit marina walls? He goes, yeah, man, there's some big fish around marina walls. I said, yes, there are. Yes, there are. Don't mean they're going to bite. But Kevin showed me that. But his eyes lit up when I said, Kevin, take you around any marina walls. Oh, Tracy's a very straightforward. He's not soft-spoken, but he kind of is. He's just kind of straightforward. Always kind of got that serious look on his face. And that's just his personality. Super nice guy. But his eyes kind of lit up when I said, he take you around those marina walls? And his eyes, he went from like stoic to guy, oh, yeah. That's some big fish. I was like, yeah, I know. I do the same thing when Kevin would take me. Flipping is awesome. It's a close quarters brawl. You about 10 foot of line with a pissed off bass on the other. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, I don't know how I would mess that up somehow. Pontoon Jetty said, I practiced casting as far as I could with my catfish reels. Then I got in a casting challenge with a guy and won. The prize was dinner. Best steak I ever ate. Good for you. There you go. Listen, hey, won that prize. Can't beat a good steak. Now, Kevin says, I love cranking a wart. Yeah. I love the power baits, but they're like Kytex, only good for one fish. Some of them, yeah, for sure. Colton says, good deal. Just checking in on him. I lost my mom on my 21st birthday, tragically, and losing a parent is never easy. I know. I've been in that club. I'm in that club. Still got my mama. But yeah, it's a tough one. But yeah, I'll check in on him. I'll shoot him a text. He'll probably have something smart ass to say to me because he always does. But yeah, I'll check on him. I'll just say the guy's missing. You guys are missing and want to make sure he's okay. But he did show up towards the end of the show Tuesday night. Do you really think there are certain lakes where you are wasting your time throwing certain lures? Bass eat almost anything. Maybe flip that around. Sometimes I think you're wasting your time throwing certain lures, and maybe it's not as much lake specific. You're right. I mean, they do eat at just about anything, but I do maybe techniques, certain things. I don't know. But I think some baits you're wasting your time. Like if you're on a grass lake, I'd never throw a Ned rig. But if I saw somebody throwing a Ned rig, I'd be like, dude, you're wasting your time. It's grass. You're just going to get hung in grass. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I mean, if you're throwing a big rainbow trout glide bait in a certain areas, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there are. They will eat almost anything. I'm sure there are a few baits. I think it's more technique sometimes than it is baits or the lake. I could be wrong. I did try to, and the reason I know that is because I tried to throw a Ned rig over at Cedar Creek back when it had grass because I was just waxing it. It's when the Ned got pretty hot and I was just catching fish everywhere on it. Hell, I ought to work at Cedar Creek. Well, it had a lot of grass. So therefore it didn't work. It didn't work at all. So that might be an example. I'm not 100% sure. I get what you're saying, though. They will eat almost anything. I mean, I've seen videos of guys up north catching bass on bacon, taking a slice of bacon, sticking it on a hook, throwing it out there, and just reeling it. And if you think about a piece of regular-sized bacon in the water, it's just swimming behind it. And the guy caught bass on it. It's just the action. I'm sure the bass didn't look at it and go, "Oh, bacon." But, yeah, I mean, they are fish. Cam, I do agree. If you're lucky, you can get 2 or 3. He's talking about power baits. You can get 2 or 3 fish on them, but yeah, that was a big problem. Yeah, but it's like, okay, but I mean, again, Cedar Creek ain't far from you, Kevin. Now, they killed the grass. I'm talking, the grass used to be, there was places on that thing where you couldn't even run any trolling motor. Hearing Bike Club just reminds me of Yum Yum. Yeah, I haven't said Yum Yum in a while. Clayton says that's a waste of bacon. I know. But I saw it. So, I mean, it just goes to prove that if you're resourceful, you can catch fish on something. And I always go back to the day the brim were busting everything and I ran out of crickets, but I had some red man in my back pocket and I just pull a piece of red man out, just pull a string of it off, break it and put it on there, look like a worm, chunk it out there. Boom. Yeah, I'm talking about Cedar Creek near Gillsville. Yeah, that's exactly the one. Dan Parker, I forgot who, but a few of the big-time anglers did a reel where they used 5-hour energy bottles or something similar to that catch bass. For sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, a bass's brain ain't but about the size of your pinky nail. LP5 Patriot, what's happening, guys? Getting used to eating lunch with y'all. Well, I'm getting used to eating lunch with you, dude. Appreciate you joining us. But, yeah, I mean, you can catch fish on a lot of different things. I think I've seen that, Dan. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been the same, but I think I've seen something like that. Kyle says, is there a day use on Lanier that's worth fishing or that holds good bass? Are you going to be fishing from the bank? Is that – I'm just – clarify that for me there, Kyle T. You talking about some bank fishing? Big difference in an aggressive bite and a hit for sure. He's talking I've caught fish with nothing but a hook. Ed, me too. I have a story that I cannot share right here. Let's just say something was going down on a boat, and I had a rod hanging over, and in the middle of going down on the boat, it was like a 1.5 pound crappie on a gold hook, nothing else. Killed the mood, but it was what it was. Bank fishing on Lanier. I mean, there are some places. I always try around War Hill. You can try. Have to drive over for work and might as well fish while I'm there. Where's your okay? First of all, how about this? Where are you working at? What part of the lake? Let's figure that out first. I chew Red Man and it's crazy. It's $11 a pack now. I used to chew it in my early 20s and it was like $6 or $7. Cody, listen, Kevin still, and it's not called Red Man anymore. It's like America's Best. Okay. But Kevin still does. And I ain't got Kevin Thornton money. He'll give me a pack every now and then. But yeah, like, I mean, if you watch Thornton, he's got one in his mouth all the time. And it's America's Best. But yeah, I mean, what can of Copenhagen now is $7. So I get it. Near Buford Dam, Mary Alice Park or Little River are two good places that have a lot of bank access. Either one of those are pretty close. And if the fish are close, you probably can catch one there. But Mary Alice Park or Little River, that's what I would do. I will have a Wright Patman Texas report after practice this weekend. Yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to see what's going on and being able to share what's going on in Texas as well. 100%. I hope you win your tournament, dude. I really do. We'll take the credit for it, right? It's because you start hanging out. You're starting to hang out with us Georgia boys. And we're rubbing off on you. No, I'm just playing with you. Bayless Creek. Okay, Andy Miller. Okay, Kyle T, listen. Andy Miller says Bayless Creek to the right of the dock. I've seen a few folks catch them there from the bank. That's why I love this show. That's why I love this crew, all you guys. Tim Hancock says a big, heavy spinnerbait is deadly, ran over deep grass. And he put surprise. Yeah, no, ain't no surprise there. I can believe that. We used to catch herring with a cast net at Hartwell. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I'm figuring he's going to be chunking a worm or something. Honestly, I would just slow drag a shaky head. That's the easiest thing. You can throw whatever you want. But I guarantee if you can get some of these spots and you just drag a shaky head, you'll catch a fish. Little Ridge is what Kevin said. Did I say Little Ridge or Little River? Little Ridge. And Little Ridge is basically, if you're standing at the boat ramp at Mary Alice Park, it is 2:00 straight across. Actually, Little Ridge. Ooh, yeah. Now listen, let me hit you on this spot. If you're on Little Ridge, here's the boat ramp. There's a walking trail that goes up past the boat ramp. Well, right where that thing kind of curves, there is a point out there that's got a bunch of rocks. And it is actually one of the places we hit in a tournament. We're throwing towards the bank from a boat, but all you'd have to do is just sit there from the bank and chunk out. And it's in a little bitty pocket, just to the right of the boat ramp. That's a good spot. That's in Little Ridge. Danny, what happened to that mead you used to always be drinking? Well, I mean, we didn't re-up our sponsorship with them because we got tired of mead. It's very good, and we got tired of mead. I'm having my loaf of bread from Reformation for lunch today. That's how I'm getting my calories. If you bank fish Little Ridge, go to the side without the trail at Land Outdoors. So I think a lot of us guys are probably in agreement. Go to Little Ridge. It's off of Buford Dam Road. And actually, if you know where Buford Dam Bait and Tackle is, go in there and say hello. So tell them Danny over at Fish North Georgia told you go in and say hello. It's there, right that you'll come on Buford Dam. You'll come to a red light, and there's a convenience store, and Buford Dam Bait and Tackle is right there beside there. They're in the same little building. They're just connected. That road that goes right by that you turn off right there, that will take you to Little Ridge. So you got to pass Buford Dam Bait and Tackle. If Dave's there, go in there and kick Dave in the knee. He's a grumpy old critter. But they're all good people. They're really good people. I like them guys over there. Old Federal has a cave off the bank. There you go. 6 Mile had good bank fishing at times. I think you could catch some fish at Little Ridge. I really do think you could catch some fish at Little Ridge. And if you're going there through the week, you're not going to have the whole entire parking lot filled up with boats because a lot of guys use that to go out. And you get a lot of people there on the weekends kind of enjoying the little beach area kind of that. But there's a lot of places that you could fish right there. So, but yeah, go to Little Ridge right there. But anyway, yeah, back to the mead. I was going to call the guy today. I don't know what we're going to do. I need to get me another sponsor when it comes to that. I was just buying stuff for the guys tonight and saw some Reformation up there. And I said, you know what? This is a toasted porter. I like dark beer. So there you go. So that'd be a good one for lunch. But anyway, if you want to try one, come up here later on. I got some more. All right. But anyway, with that, guys, we've had a pretty good one today. hour and a half almost. I got some work I got to do. You guys need to come tonight. Come up here and hang with us, or watch us on TikTok, or watch us on YouTube, Facebook. Well, you can't watch on Facebook Live. Well, you got to watch it on YouTube or TikTok Tuesday and Thursday night. But tonight we got Kevin Underwood, been in the chat. We're going to break down the fall bite on Lanier on a herring fishery. And kind of talk about the things that maybe, like Brian Latimer said doesn't happen, but a lot of guys say do happen. So we're going to get Kevin's perspective. And I'll tell you why I found that interesting is because 3 weeks ago, that's 6, 3 weeks ago. How about that? Kevin told me he was seeing fish already where they should be in the fall. So he's got enough experience. Ain't no fish left in Lanier. Someone done moved them all out, gone fishing with Ed. They out there, though. They out. I promise you that. But Kevin told me that, and he's on the water enough to know that the fish, he normally sees them in these places later in the year. He's already seen them in places. So something's kind of going on. Something's happening. And that was about 3 weeks ago. So we're going to see if he still feels that way because we've had a little hot spell since then. Remember, we had those few cool weeks that really got us in the mood to go hunting, and you could walk outside and not get pecked to death by mosquitoes and everything. Damn mosquitoes are back, man. I can't stand them. I went and hung that deer stand last night, and it was just I could hear the buzzing going on. But yeah, we dropped some juice today, guys, for sure. But come back tonight. Come back tonight and let's see if Kevin's still seeing the same things. If Kevin can help you locate where the fish are. Because remember, he said that the number one thing is know your fish. He said that up there in the comment section earlier. Know your fish. And we'll just see. And we'll kind of compare them. Try them thermocell units. They work. Yeah, see, Ed, that's the problem, is I got one. Okay, but I was just rushing and said, yeah, I'll be all right. I got them. But, yeah, I rushed out. They were terrible last night. But let's get some Guntersville juice. Caught 15 or so. Best was 5.16. Best 5 was 16.74. I tell you what, Derek Spicer, I can't do it tonight. Probably can't do it next Tuesday, but I can see if Dave Aldred, because he's been on Guntersville a lot, maybe him and a guest from Guntersville to pipe in next Thursday. How about that? We'll see if we can do that. Guntersville's a fun lake. I need to get back out there. Damn, it's got a lot of grass, though. But, Derek, yeah, we'll see. That's pretty good. We'll see what we can do. Especially with that big bass bash going on, and then also that Ultimate Angler. Just met my monetizing requirements for my YouTube channel. We moving. Congratulations, Jeremiah. Takes a lot of work to get there, right? It does take a lot of work to get there. But anyway, you guys come back tonight. Come back tonight at 8. If you can't be there at 8, watch it later. But join me tomorrow. Let me hear Ed. What lake you like across? Do I live across from again, Danny? Latham. Like I can sit on my porch and see Latham. So yeah. When you come over there, let me know. I'd like to come over there and meet you. Sounds good. Been learning it out there. This is my best day so far. Yeah. I mean, Dave Ken Pruitt went out there, I think, with him the other day. Dave knows he has a house in Guntersville. That's where we stayed at when we went over there and filmed. Sure, Ed, too. Yeah, absolutely. Come by and see me, buddy. But Guntersville was neat. But yeah, Dave can talk Guntersville, and then we'll try to get somebody. And I think we need to get some guys to talk the Tennessee stuff too. I mean, we can only talk Lake Lanier so much. We need to branch out. You know what I mean? And we can say, we can talk Allatoona or shit. They're the same damn lake, just a little bit different. So we need to start branching out to other lakes for sure. But I'll see if we can do Guntersville, not tonight, not Tuesday, but next Thursday. We'll do a Guntersville episode. Jeremiah says need to go to Guntersville, but with a guide maybe, because I don't think it's great from the bank. I will tell you this. Listen, you can catch, if you can find places to fish, especially with all that grass. Farmer and Tim were busting bass against the bank with buzz baits and stuff like that. They're there. And that was in October. Traveling fisherman. Hey, y'all, making our way through Canada. Dude, where you going now? Where you headed to? I'd love to get some trout knowledge. I did not grow up around them, so I'm not the most confident. Well, like I said, we got a trout page coming. We definitely got a trout page coming. So you'll get that. You'll get that coming soon. I live by Alatoona. Had to go find some big fish. Mark Scott guides Gunnersville. Okay, Derek. Listen, we'll. I know that just. I know Dave knows it very well, and he knows all those guys over at GTO, those tackle stores that everybody knows. So I will see if he can set us up with somebody, and we'll figure it out. We'll talk about Gunnersville because that's some big tournaments coming up. Big tournaments coming up. So anyway, hey, listen, guys. I'm going to go do some work. If you're in the area, come by, see me. If you want to stay for the live well tonight, just get here before I lock the doors. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. And traveling. Oh, okay. So Charles was talking to traveling fisherman out there. I don't know where he's at. He's in Canada. Man's got it made, dude. His wife's a traveling nurse. Wherever she goes to work, he gets to fish. I love it. I love it. But yeah, come by and hang out tonight. Kevin will be up here in person and all that. So we're not piping anybody in. So you can talk to him. You can ask him the questions yourself or watch the show. Put on the football game, turn the volume down, listen to us. Cody Jones, I wasn't going to ask for follows on here, but I get bored posting fishing pics and videos and nobody to talk to or engage with. Cody, do you got, real quick, you got a channel? You want people? I can shout out your channel. He drove through Jasper and Banff National Parks yesterday. I have to go look that up, see where that's at. If any of you guys got channels, social media channels out there, feel free to throw them out there. We'll shout it out because if you grow, we grow. Gone Fishing with Ed. Cody he wants to know what's Cody's channel. He'll sub. So Cody, real quick, I'm not going to get off till you tell me your channel. You can go follow Jeremiah. Jeremiah's got a channel. He'll cocky. No, I'm kidding. My above comment had my IG name. Where's it at? Your above comment. Hell, let's see. I missed it, Cody. The comments fly over here too quick. Type it again because I have lost it. Go ahead and type it again real quick, and I'm not going to get off till you type it again. If you don't mind, type in his Instagram, and I'll wait. We're all waiting for you, Cody. I can't go to work, Cody, until we get your name. You know, I'm just playing with you. Fishing at Lake Louise was definitely a special moment in catching fish. I bet it was, dude. Like, to be able to see the world and the things that you're doing and the places you get to fish, I find it to be, I'm jealous. I'm a little bit jealous. We're waiting on Cody. Cody, where you at? I don't want to, let's see. I'll try to go up and find your last comment, but it's way on up there. We're all going to blame Cody because Danny ain't getting your stuff done. Cody Jones. I saw it. Where'd I see it at? No, that's where you said you choose Red Man. So I don't see it. But anyway, maybe he'll get it back out there real quick. I just typed it again. Is it there? No. That's what I'm saying. It's like we're not getting your name, dude. All else, here's what I see. Cody Jones, 1:31 p.m. My above comment had my IG name. Cody Jones, I just typed it again. Is it there? LOL. What's up, Bass and Booze? Okay, here we go. This is Cody's. All right, here it is. He typed it out for us. Capital G, God _ outdoors _ adventures. The only thing that's capitalized is the G. So God _ outdoors _ adventures. You guys go give him a follow over there. And with that, I'm going to finish off my bread. Going to go back to work. You guys join us tonight. We'll have some fun. Oh, wait, so hold on a second. Going to Judas Priest tonight. You going? I got to jump on this and hold on a second. I never was a big Judas Priest fan. I like some of their stuff, but no, I'm not going. They might be pretty. What are they, like 80 now? At least they can rock. Like, I would not go watch the Rolling Stones for nothing. Blasphemy. Listen, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Judas Priest. I didn't like get into them heavy. Like, I can listen to them. They're all right. They're all right. In fact, I'll tell you what, just for that comment right there, we got this big sound system here. When I get off, I will put on some Judas Priest and I'll jam it. Halford is 73. I know, it's like, guys, seriously. He said ignore the capital G. But anyway. So anyway, you guys over here on YouTube, you guys be good. I will see you guys later on tonight. You guys are out. And then